Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Susie Q Stamping 3 on Thursday. Today is January 13th, 2022. I cannot believe that we are almost halfway through with the month of January. It just doesn't seem possible. I want to remind you that my January host code is T2TKEPF9, and that when you place an order of $50 or more before tax and shipping, you will receive a free gift from me to celebrate my 1-year anniversary with Stampin' Up. So I did want to remind you of that. You can find today's projects with all of the cutting dimensions and the directions and all the supplies needed out on my blog at SusieQStamping.com. After the post or after the video is gone live today, then I will post that out there. I want to announce the winner for last week's cards that we made. These were the cards that I made last week on Thursday. And then the one with the hat builder. And these cards will be going to Cindy McGee. She is the winner. So congratulations, Cindy, on commenting on my video and getting these free cards. So every week when I do my videos, if you make a comment during the live or even a replay, I will put your name into a drawing. You have until the following week, Wednesday, to make your comment, and then I will draw a name out and give those cards to the winner. So today, excuse me. Hello, Karen. Boy, I can't even talk today. You're sneaking in, are you? Well, I don't know about all of you, but I am a paper hoarder. I hoard all my beautiful DSP papers, and I have shelves of paper now. So I am trying to use it up, give it away, whatever I need to do with it, because I just can't have all of this paper anymore. And I want to remind you that we do have the new January to June mini catalog, which has some beautiful papers in it. And I'm expecting those papers to be delivered Saturday. And then I will get the paper shares ready for those of you that wanted to do a paper share. If you still want to do a paper share, there's still time for you to get in on that. It is $33 plus shipping unless I deliver it to you at a class or something. And then we also have the celebration going on where you can earn these products for free. This particular stamp set is the host stamp set. So if you have a qualifying party of $300 or more, you can receive the Calming Camilla stamp set for free. You can either do that by having your own party where you order $300 or more, and then you would get that as a free stamp set. Plus, you would be able to pick and choose lots of other stamps and papers from the celebration catalog. So anyway, back to hoarding the papers. I know that I'm a paper hoarder. I see a paper and I love it, and so I buy a pack. Perhaps I buy 2 packs. And then they just keep coming out with new papers, and I keep buying new papers. So because our catalog will end in May, I am wanting to show you how to use some of the current papers that are in the current catalog, the annual catalog, so that you'll be ready to order more paper when the new catalog in May comes out. So the first card that I'm going to make is this card here, and it's kind of a fun fold card. We get a new catalog in May. It runs from May until April. Something like that. I'll have to double check. Hi, Cindy. Yes, I know. You could probably be a hoarder too, just like me. I think I'm going to start a club, and it's going to be PHA, Paper Hoarders Anonymous. So anyway, this is one of the cards we're going to use, or we're going to make today, and we're going to be using scraps on this card. So it opens up like this, so it's kind of like a fun fold. And I am using the Pansy stamp set and the pansy paper. And let's see, where have I got my start at? So this was the card that I mocked up, and I just wasn't so sure I liked it with not having an extra stability to it, although my assistant said that she didn't think it needed anything. But the card that I'm going to make for us today, showing you how to do this, I've cut down to where it will fit on a piece of Blackberry Bliss paper so that it gives it just a little bit more stability to it. And I kind of like that look. It kind of gives it an extra little border. So I went ahead and I've started placing my scraps in the corner, and I just realized, I don't think I had it. I got to grab a pair of glasses. I'm just going to go black today. Alright, so I didn't actually stick this down to be permanent so that I could show you how to do this. And I am using my tape runner. But when you cut these on the right angle, you should be able to use that next scrap to go ahead and put your paper down. So let me get my silicone mat here. This is one of my most favorite tools in my room because I can, nothing sticks to it. My adhesives don't stick to it. Okay, so these are 3/4 inch strips. And I cleaned off my desk and put everything away. Can you imagine? Oops, don't want to use those good scissors. I use scissors that I have a pair of scissors that are just, it's got a little ribbon on it, and that tells me that those are for my sticky stuff. So I will just take and trim off that piece. And that's probably scrap now. That's not going to be used because it's not long enough for me to use it on the card anymore. So that's going to be trash. So now I have another piece, and I am just alternating my pattern. And when you lay this down, you do want to make sure that you kind of have it going over the paper on the edges so that you can trim them off until you get that one diagonal cut that you need to make it fit then. And if you need to add a little bit more sticky to it, you can. Like I said, make sure that you give yourself enough hanging over so that it, you can cut it off and it'll have that diagonal for you. And these are just butted right up next to each other. And again, you just snip it off. Yes, and these, you can do these with scraps. I didn't have a whole lot of scraps with this paper, so I did cut a piece that I had that was a 12-inch piece, and then I just cut them down into 3/4 inch strips, okay? So I've got 4. I'm going to do one more, and we're going to turn the paper this way with the other pattern. And I cannot take credit necessarily for this design of this type of card. I got this, I was watching Connie Stewart, who is another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. She's been in for a very, very long time. And she was talking about how to use up your paper scraps. Because we don't want to throw them away, but sometimes we can become so inundated with scraps and paper that... Hi, Teresa, you're in Florida. Oh, my. What fun that is. That you, pretty soon you've got all these scraps of paper and all these paper packs that you don't know what to do with. And you want to get new paper. So I suggest, let's start using up the paper packs that we had from the 21 to 22 annual catalog, so that when that new catalog comes out, we can get more paper and not feel guilty about buying more paper. Okay, I had a little bit of extra and it didn't stick, so let me get my glue because I need that little corner to be stuck down here, because then we're going to do something to get that fun little fold. I was just thinking of you, Teresa, the other day, wondering if you were going to be down here at the lake or not anytime soon. Let me get my paper trimmer out and show you how we're going to make this into the fun fold card. So here is my paper trimmer, and make sure my score tool is out of the way. I am going to line up the point of this DSP at the top and then the point of it down here in my guide. I hope that you can see that. And then I don't like trying to start on a point, so I'm going to start from the middle of my paper and cut it so I wind up with a triangle. Okay, and I wind up with a piece that's going to be my card front that looks like this. Okay, I'm going to take my bone folder and give it a real good score. Now, before I get... You're there until late March? Well, lucky you. We're expecting snow Saturday. Now, I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and because this is strong adhesive, I don't have to put a whole complete strip, so I just go periodically on my base, and we are going to place this on our Blackberry Bliss. I love these colors. Be watching. I'm just giving you updates and heads up on things that are happening. The retiring list will be coming out in April. And I know it sounds like that's far away, but really, when you think that we are already to the 13th of January, it's not that far off. Alright, now we're going to take this triangle that we cut and we're going to place it back down on the inside of our card. So again, I'm going to use my silicone mat so that I can get right up there in that corner and it won't stick to my workstation, because I want adhesive right there at that corner. And the neat thing about with this adhesive, you can just kind of roll it back over on itself and then it sticks onto the other side. And I do really want this to stick since it was cut off. So now I'm just going to match this up with my side and my bottom of my white card base. So there we have our fun fold. Now I'm going to take a piece of paper, and I left off with the flowers. So now I'm going to take a piece of the gingham, and I am going to attach it to the upper part so that it will stay in the same pattern that I had with my diagonals. So this is going to go when my sticky stuff starts. I wanted to give myself enough hangover that I could definitely cut it off at that angle. So if you do have lots of scraps, this is a real simple and easy card to do to get rid of those scraps, especially those strips that you always kind of wind up with after you've cut your 12 by 12, or even you can do this even with your cardstock, because I know a lot of times when we cut our cardstock to certain sizes, we have those odd little strips. Alright, so there is our card so far. So now, to save on time, and not that I had to get my die cut machine out, But let me show you with this pansy paper, the dies for the big pansy flower that you can stamp and die cut, or you can take the die and put it on this paper that has the big pansies on it. Same way with these little smaller pansies. So what I did was I just got a piece of this paper and I cut out 2 of those pansies. And I also used the Color and Contour die set that went with the, oh, I will think of it here in a minute. I will think of it, it's just not coming to me right now. The scalloped contours went with the Color and Contour stamps. So this has all these little frames in it. And so I took the next to the smallest frame and I cut it out of the fresh freesia. And this is what you're left with. So this is what we're going to put our greeting on. And I am using the greeting from the Pansy Patch stamp set. I'm going to use the Happy Birthday, and then on the inside I'm stamping wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you, and I am doing that in the Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so let me get this stamp back on and make sure that it's as straight as I can get it, because I don't do anything straight. And there's my Happy Birthday. So we're going to stamp the Happy Birthday up towards the top, because we're going to put our big pansy down on the bottom. And because that is a polymer, I'm going to use my silicone mat, because I've found that that can also be used for my mat to stamp with the polymer on. And I'm going to stamp the Happy Birthday up here at the top. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside of my card, and I'm going to keep it right up here in the upper left corner so that you can't see it. Okay, I will clean those off here in a minute. Then I'm going to come in with the, I don't know. Am I coming through blurry to all of you? It might just be my computer. I don't know. Or our internet. I don't know. So let me know if it's blurry to you. It's not blurry on my phone, but it's like it's blurry on my computer. Which, of course, you know, because I don't want to get another computer right now. It's going to go out on me. I am going to use the Soft Succulent ink, and I am going to stamp the inside with a leaf. Yes. One thing that I do, Terry, is I sort all of my scraps and I keep them with my original designer series paper in a baggie, and then my scraps of my cardstock, it goes into a file folder where the rest of mine, I think I just knocked my camera, where the rest of my cardstock is. So now I have 2 stamps from the Pansy Patch. I have the little leaf, so we're going to be using that, and I'm using the Soft Succulent. And we're going to stamp that kind of up here in the upper right, but keeping it over to this side. So I'm stamping the complete, what I call the complete stamp. It stamps, better cover up my, Alright, and I'm going to kind of put it on a little angle because I am going to put one of those die cut pansies there. And now I'm just taking the detailed leaf and I'm going right over it. There we go. So those are done. So all of our stamping is done now. Okay. So now the first thing that I'm going to do is here's my little pansy. And it just so happened on the sheet of paper that I had that I could get the big Blackberry Bliss one out of. It was a pink one. It doesn't matter what color you die cut. This paper has all the colors that are in the color family. So you've got polished pink, pale papaya, Blackberry Bliss, fresh freesia. So it's got a whole lot of pretty colors. And so any of those pansies that are on that paper will match. So now on the outside, we are going to take this and we're going to put it right up here. And I must have started my angle a little bit different than I did with this one. See how I didn't have quite as much at the bottom? So that takes, but it's not a big deal. So we're going to attach this. But this is just, it's a really cool way of using up those scraps that you have. Because I know if you are like me, I don't like to throw away paper. But sometimes it comes to a point where you've had paper for 10 years and it's outdated. And sometimes you just have to throw it away. Or give it away to an organization that can use it. So I'm taking my liquid glue and I am going to attach my 2 leaves that I die cut from my soft succulent scrap. Again, I used scraps for these things because I'm trying to use up scraps. I'm thinking that, no, I was thinking the soft succulent was going out this year, but it's not. It's a 23, so it goes until 23. Now I'm going to use dimensionals. There we go. And I'm going to pop up my pansy so that it just gives it a little bit of, whoops, a little bit of dimension on it. So is everybody else staying warm or trying to be warm? Today I know is a pretty day out, but I think it's the calm before the storm because we are supposed to get snow on Saturday. So there's card number 1. It is a kind of a fun fold card. So, and it's using strips of paper. Okay, so that is card number 1. Let me clean up that mess and we will get to card number 2. Also using scraps. See, here's the pansy paper, and I can still use this paper as a background and put another piece of paper on top of it to cover up the squares like this, so that this could be a mat, and so I can still use that as a mat for a card, so it's not really trash yet. Okay, our next card that we're going to be using is we're going to be using Art Gallery stamp set. And I know this sounds kind of weird with the paper I'm using, but what I'm using is just the happy birthday stamp out of this. These bits of paper, okay, they've done their duty for me, so I'm going to throw them away. And I thank them for their service, and into the trash bin they go. Otherwise, I would still be having scraps. And I get so tired of scraps sometimes. when my grandkids were little, it wasn't too bad because I'd give them the scraps and they'd punch them out of paper and glue them together on a piece of paper. And Audrey just loved to make designs with it. So, all right, so I am using the In Good Taste DSP. I really haven't made a whole lot of cards with this, and I thought, okay, I do have some scraps in there, so I'm going to go ahead and use those scraps up to make this card. Now, the idea from this card I got from another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and her website is Stamping with Christina or Crafting with Christina. I can't remember, but anyway, she does a video every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday or Friday, and she was using up scraps of the designer, not the designer series paper, the In Color packs from last year. So she was using that, but I thought, you know, for a masculine card, I could use my In Good Taste paper. So this is the second card that we're going to make. And I have a piece of gray granite that is our card base. And that's just cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of Night of Navy that measures at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have another strip of the Night of Navy that is 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. I have a strip of the DSP paper, and it didn't really matter. This one doesn't match the one that I used because I'd already used that scrap. So I just used another scrap, and this one is cut at 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. And then I have 5 different strips, and these measure 3/4 of an inch by 3 inches. And then they are cut with the Pick a Banner punch, okay, with the flag punch. Now, depending on the size of your scraps, you could make these longer or shorter. As you can see, my example one, it was longer. But then I had other scraps, and I thought, well, I can use them even though they are shorter. I can still use them. So the easiest way that I found to line up and make my strips even was to put my paper on a piece of grid paper. And because these are 3/4 of an inch, I can start in the center, and you can use either side of these papers. Okay, I think I want to use this piece here, and I think I want to use this piece. I'm going to use that piece instead of the real dark brown wood. And then I'm going to use this that looks kind of like the stone. And let's see, do I want to use that piece or that piece? Let's go ahead and use that piece. All right, so then what I'm doing is I'm going to take my centerpiece, and I know that it is 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to kind of line these all up where they have 1/4 of an inch in between them, and they're going to get glued all the way to the top. So just like that. So I'm going to start with my center one, and I am using glue on this because if I need to slip it around a little bit, I can. But you can use whatever is your go-to adhesive. So you're just going to lay those strips down. And you can do this with any of the designer series paper. If you like flowers and there's a small print of flowers, by all means, use the flowers. I just know that for me, I have a hard time with masculine cards. And so every time I can use certain paper that I can make a masculine card with, then I take that opportunity to do that because I do have difficulty with masculine cards. We don't have a lot of masculine stamp sets. And that's why I'm using that art gallery as my birthday greeting, because I needed a very narrow birthday greeting. And that gave it to me. I was using it out of the Nuts About You squirrel set, and then realized that that set had gone out. But then I was reminded that it was a carryover, so it is still in, that you can still order that set. And that's a really cute set, especially to make get well cards, because it has a cute saying that I hope you're feeling bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And that's, I had wanted to use that, but thought, no, I can't because it's retired, but it's not actually retired. So, do go on periodically and check out the clearance rack. You can also check out what is orderable and what is non-orderable right now due to the shipping shortages. I know that it's causing havoc overseas in the European countries and South Pacific, like Australia and stuff. So we ought to count ourselves lucky. So now I'm going to take and attach my navy blue card layer to my gray granite card base. And for some reason, I have been having issues with getting things straight. I don't know why. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my happy birthday in Night of Navy. And I'm going to stamp it right here on this Designer Series paper. And I'm going to have my little pattern going up and down this direction. So I'm going to use the happy birthday out of the art gallery. And I need to put my little pad underneath here. And I'm going to do this as best I can in the center. Looks pretty good. And I am going to attach that now onto the strip of the Night of Navy. This pack does have some pinks in it. It went with the Rococo Rose paper that was in color that went out last year. But if you're a paper hoarder, you might have some of it left. Okay, so there is our birthday greeting. Now, we could put it down here if we wanted to, or we could put it up here across our banners. Okay? I'm thinking that we're going to put it down here across our banners, just like that. And we're going to glue this. With the cost of postage, I'm really being selective in what I use dimensionals on. And most men don't care about the dimensionals. So, but what I did do to kind of dress this up a little bit, here they are, I used the Opal Rounds, and I used the Night of Navy Stampin' Blend marker, and I colored two of those Opal Rounds with the Night of Navy marker, and I'm going to add those right here between those sections. So what do you think, ladies? Do you like that card? Okay, so that's a real simple masculine card using up scraps. And like I said, you can use the length of your scraps. It doesn't matter. You can decide however long you want them to be. Okay. All right, our next card that we're going to make is using a full half sheet of 12 by 12 paper. So if you have some of those designer series packs that you really like and you've been hoarding them, now is the time to start using them up, ladies. I'm telling you. Hi, Tiffany. Use them up so that you can buy new paper. You don't want to hoard all that old paper and then, you know, hangs around forever and ever, because it does go out of style. So I want to show you, this is a card I made the other day, just kind of playing around. And this is a really old piece of paper. But I like the black and very vanilla. And in the paper pumpkin for January, no, December, it was lots of pun. And in it, it had bananas and cherries and things like that. And it had a greeting that said, "Peel better soon." Well, then there's another stamp set that is called Bunches of Fun. And it also has some funny greetings in it. So I made this card as a get well card for a guy. I know there's 2 men at our church that's going to be having surgery. And so I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and get some get well cards made up for him. So I fussy cut some of sorry about that. I fussy cut some of the bananas that came with the stamp set for the paper pumpkin in December. And then the little dog here, and this saying on the brighter side, "You don't need a cone," that came from the Bunches of Fun stamp set. And this group of bananas also came from the Bunches of Fun. So the little faces, so it was a really cool little stamp set for the paper pumpkin. So this is another fun fold card, easy peasy. I even did a fussy cut banana on the back. So that's the one style that I just kind of played around with the other day. And here's the one that we're going to make today. And again, it's another masculine looking card, but you could use it for anybody. And it's also a get well card. And I am using the Beautiful Friendship, or beautiful friendship paper. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. And I'm also using Bumblebee, and we are going to stamp in the Early Espresso. So let me show you how we do this. I already have my card base cut, which is a regular size card base that is only 1/4 of a piece of card stock, I should say. So it is cut at 5.5 by 4 1/4. And then I have a piece of 12-inch designer series paper, cut at 12 inches by 4 inches. And the reason it's 4 inches is so that it can lay on top of your cardstock. And you could have this card open either this way, or it would be opening to this side, but I'd rather have it opening this way. Okay, so that's our basis of our card. Then again, we have a strip of paper, and this measures at 1 inch by 4 inches. And another piece of paper that measures 3/4 of an inch by, see, I can't count my inches backwards, 3 3/4. This is just a strip of scrap that we're going to do our stamping on. I have already stamped and glued together my tree, but I did use a scrap of white to do that with. And how I did that was using the, let me show you real quick, the stamp, the tree stamp was done in cinnamon cider. That one's a no-brainer, really. You just stamp that, and then that's going to be die cut. The tree top, however, there are 2 different stamps that you can make the tree top. One is more detailed than the other one. So what I did was I took the not the non-detailed. And I inked it in the Bumblebee. And I stamped it on a piece of scrap. Like so. And then cleaned it off so that I don't get ink on my hands. Then I came in with Old Olive with the more of a detailed stamp. And you can't really tell on camera, but you can when you have the stamp set, which is the more detailed. And then I just stamped over that Bumblebee with the Old Olive so that it kind of gave me a two-tone treetop. And then, of course, the trunk of the tree and the top of the tree both got cut out with the die cuts that match this set. So that's how I stamped the... I was getting a news break in. I forgot to shut my volume off on my phone, so give me a second. There we go. Okay. Whoops, now I've lost you. There we go. All right. But I did want to show you how I did the two different tones for my treetop. Then what I did was I took from the Happy Hippo set, or the Hippo and Friends set. If you ladies don't have this die set, it's still in the annual catalog. I did not buy this necessarily for the hippos. So if you wanted to just get this die set, not the stamp set, I love the labels. And that was one of the things that drew me to this stamp set, or this die set, was these different labels that you can make. And it has, it has all kinds of little dies that you can use that go with the stamp set. But I like this die here, so I used the big die, and then I used the next die smaller, and I'll show you how I decorated for the inside of this card. And again, I just use scraps of this paper, because that's what these are all about today, is using scraps. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp Get Well Soon in Early Espresso on that little piece of strip of Bumblebee. And this is a real small little greeting. And so I've got about a half-inch piece of, half-inch strip. And I don't like the way that turned out because I smudged it. So we'll stamp it again. At least if I stamp it and I don't like it and I have to throw this whole strip away, I have tried to use a piece of scrap, so I feel okay about that. We'll try this again. Still isn't straight. Okay, go to standing up, because that's the way you can get it better. And this stamp is from the, I just had it here, Threw It Together, which has got all kinds of little greetings in it, with much love. The best way to get through things is together. So there's not only outside greetings, there's also some little inside greetings that you can use. They are tiny stamps, which can be a good thing if you need just a tiny, tiny greeting. That one looks pretty good. Alright, now I'm going to take and cut. I'm going to cut this at an angle. And we'll see how straight I can get this to cut it down just a smidge more. There, that's good. Okay, I've used this, now I'm going to throw it away. I don't need to keep all these scraps. Alright. Now, for the inside, I wanted something to stand out against that wood grain paper. So that's why I cut this label from the Hippo and Friends. But because my greeting isn't really very big, I wanted to add some color to this. So that's why I cut the next size down. And I took my trimmer, and if you're good at cutting a straight line, which I am not, with a pair of scissors, I'm going to move my camera back just a smidge so that and I will be the first to admit that I cannot cut a straight line. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer, and I am going to trim off the top piece and the bottom piece right as it kind of comes in on that curve area. Now that does leave me with a piece of paper like this, but that's okay, because you could use that as an embellishment on a card, or you can say, well, it's done its service, and now I can throw it away. And I am going to attach these leafy areas to the top and the bottom of my bumblebee. And I just thought that this just kind of added a little bit something to kind of carry over the continuity of the whole tree theme that I had going on here. And I don't look for this paper to carry over. It was a carryover from last year. So I really don't think that this paper is going to be carried over. This one, it's a little bit crooked, but too crooked for my taste, so we're going to have to fix it. See, even demonstrators are not perfect. I have to fix things. Especially if it bugs me, if it's crooked enough that I can tell. So, okay, so I fixed that. Now on the inside for my greeting, I've got the same, from the same stamp set, threw it together. I have the stamp that says, "Sending you this paper hug." So I'm going to stamp that in the Early Espresso. And I'm going to kind of leave me enough space down here at the bottom that I can sign this card. I am not a big note writer, so I always try to have a, that is correct. That always aggravates me when that happens. So what we're going to do is we are going to flip this over, peel these off, because no one's going to be able to see this back, because it's going to be attached down. See, you can always fix a mistake. One of my little girls in American Heritage Girls told me the other night that a mistake is a miracle waiting to happen. And so I thought, okay, fine, then this is going to be a miracle if this card gets complete. I will probably send you my original card because it will not have any mistakes in it. Okay. And I can flip this tag over because there's really no stitching on it or anything, so I always hate to turn those ones over and use the back side that have the stitching, because then you're hiding the stitching. But okay, for those of you that may be watching this on YouTube after I post it out there, let me tell you, my name is Sue Sanders, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Missouri. When I do my live videos, they are live. I do not go back and edit them. That takes too much time, and I just don't have that time to edit my videos. So you see everything that happens. That's right, Cindy. By the time I'm done, no one's going to know the difference that I used the other side. So, but I am going to make sure that the stamp is straight this time. And it is. So, as long as I can keep it straight. There we go. Kind of looks like I need to... Well, that is still crooked. What is wrong with my eyes? Maybe it's just my eyes are crooked and it's not really the stamp that's crooked. Or something's giving it the illusion that it's crooked. I'm going to ask my assistant. Crooked or not crooked?
A little bit, but I think it's fine.
All right. She thinks it's fine. I'm going to keep this one, and I will send the winner of these cards the original. So now we have all of our pieces, and we are ready to put this card together. And it is very easy. So I am going to use my liquid glue and glue our DSP. And this does take a whole half a sheet of the DSP. So... but it's one way of using up the really pretty DSP and less cardstock. Alright, so this is the inside of our card. We're going to go ahead and place this down with our glue. Now that I'm standing up, I have to remember I have to hold things down in front of me. That's right, Cindy. It is a handmade card. So if they want a perfect card, they need to go spend $5 for one out at Hallmark. At least that's the way I look at it. It's like, okay. So I'm going to take my little strip here of the bumblebee, and I'm going to place it kind of down towards the bottom so that the tree has room to stand. On this little piece of green, that's from the back side of the Designer Secrets paper in that same set, there's a dirt mound. I call it a dirt mound. But it's going to anchor our tree to the ground. So I'm going to stamp that kind of close to the bottom of that. So it didn't get quite to the bottom, but it'll be okay. Now I'm going to attach that piece to our bumblebee. Whoops, it doesn't go all the way to the end, silly. Because I do have a border around it. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to see if I can get it better. I need to get a refill for my early espresso. See how well I can do this. That G just still isn't getting it, but I think that side's better than the other side. So that's going to go here. Our tree is going to get popped up on dimensionals and go right there. So let me grab my mini dimensionals. Because I did glue our tree top to the tree trunk. And now I'm just going to use, I'm going to use quite a few of these mini dimensionals because I want to make sure that it doesn't sag if I mail this. Okay. And now to get some from my narrow, I just cut little strips off the sides of my, see, you can see all the little strips I've cut. And those will go right down on that trunk, so that those will also be popped up. And we'll take off those pieces. Taking off the backing of all of our little dimensionals. And our tree will get set right there. I forgot I didn't pop that up. That one looks better. We're going to put us some dimensionals on our little Get Well Wish. Do you ever wonder, though, if your card came apart, if, you know, I've got a little bit of excess ink there. I think what I'm going to do is take a sponge dauber to kind of fix that little mistake, and I'm going to use some early espresso. Ooh, drop it everywhere. And I'm just going to take and dab some ink around the bottom, or around the edges of this, so that my little boo-boo, where there was some ink on the bottom of the stamp, doesn't really show, but it will be covered up now with my, oops, well, that's one I'm going to have to fix. Put a pair of gloves on before you touch that, because you'll get all brown. And then that's going to go right there. So that is our card number 3. So, yes, Tiffany, those are little foam pieces. They're called dimensionals. And we have mini dimensionals and then regular size dimensionals. These are the size of the regular dimensionals. So there's quite a bit of difference between that and these little tiny ones that are like this, that you use on smaller pieces of die cuts and pieces of paper and things. So, okay, so let me move all of this stuff out of the way so that I don't get ink on any of these pretty cards. And cover up my glue. And I'm going to lay all these cards out for you. And you tell me which one is your favorite. Okay. So, Tiffany, would you be interested in hosting a class, and it can be an online class, with some of your friends there in St. Louis, and make some cards, some very simple, basic cards that are not real hard and difficult to make? Okay, so those are put away. I just wanted to get some of this. Sometimes it takes me an hour to clean up my mess after my Thursdays. But okay, so here is card number 3. This was the original. Then we have card number 2. This was the original, the one we made today. This is card number 1, my original, and the one we made today. So they're all using up scraps of paper. So tell me which one that you like best, ladies. And don't forget, if you're joining after the live and you're watching the replay. Your tray, bring it down. Oh, this one here? Okay. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and make a comment so that I know which card you liked best. And then you will be entered into the drawing for winning these 3 cards next week. So you like 1 and 2, so that would be 1 and 2. All right. Anybody else want to vote now? If not, then I am going to sign off. Wish you all a safe weekend with the snow weather. Mom likes 2, which is this one here. Hope everybody stays safe. I was giving some options to myself. I like to talk to myself, and I thought, okay, option number 1 for Saturday, I could clean house. Option number 2 for Saturday, I could clean out a storage unit that I have, or a storage area that I have. And then option number 3 was, guess what it was? Stamping. Do you know which option I'm going to choose? I'm choosing number 3, because it's like, you know what? What better way to spend a snowy, cold day on a Saturday? I'll put some soup in the crock pot. And hi, Cherie. I'm glad you were able to join us. You must have played cards this afternoon. So you'll have to go back and watch the replay, but you at least get to see the cards that we created. I did tell everybody to pick which one is their favorite. Card number 1, which is made with the pansies. Card number 2, which is made with the In Good Taste. And card number 3, that was made with the Beauty of Friendship paper. And these were all using scraps today. So, other than our card bases, some of the card bases were not scraps. Some of them they were. So, anyway, ladies, I will sign off, and I will see you all next Thursday, if not before. I'm working on some things, and I'm hoping to do a little short mini video to get you all interested in what I'm planning on doing in February. So, bye everybody. See you later. Have a great weekend and stay safe.